Elon Musk just publicly challenged Britain's Prime Minister in what might be the most significant clash between tech power and government authority we've seen this decade. Markets are reeling, Parliament is divided, and the fight over who controls online speech in the UK is escalating by the hour. This isn't just another Twitter spat. This is about power, money, and the future of free expression in the digital age. Here's exactly what happened, why it matters, and what comes next. 3 days ago, UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer stood before cameras and announced sweeping new digital regulations. Social media platforms operating in Britain would now pay what he called a sovereignty tax on British user data. Tech companies would face stricter content moderation requirements, and the government would gain expanded oversight powers to ensure compliance. His words were unambiguous. The era of tech billionaires exploiting British citizens without accountability ends today. Before we go further, hit that subscribe button right now. This story is developing in real time, and you need to see what happens next. We're tracking every move, every market shift, every political calculation. Don't miss it. Musk's response came within hours, and it was nuclear. During a company-wide meeting at X headquarters in San Francisco, Musk didn't just criticise the policy. He released internal documents suggesting Labour officials had discussed expanded content monitoring capabilities months before the public announcement. This isn't about protecting citizens, Musk declared to his 180 million followers. This is about controlling what British people can read, watch, and say online. He went further. Musk claimed the regulations were designed to give the government leverage over platforms ahead of next year's election. They don't want accountability, he said. They want a kill switch for information they don't like. The UK government fired back immediately. Home Secretary Yvette Cooper called Musk's claims conspiracy theories from a billionaire protecting his business interests. She insisted the regulations address genuine concerns about data exploitation, online harassment, and harmful content spreading unchecked. We're not restricting speech, Cooper stated. We're finally holding trillion-dollar corporations accountable for the damage their platforms enable. But while politicians traded accusations, financial markets were already delivering their verdict. Within 2 hours of Musk's statement, the pound sterling dropped sharply against the dollar. By London's market close, it had fallen 2.8%, the steepest single-day decline since the mini-budget crisis. The FTSE 100 shed £47 billion in market value as investors dumped UK assets. Technology stocks led the sell-off, with British fintech companies losing an average of 6.3%. And here's where ordinary Britons felt the impact immediately. Major pension funds, which millions of working people depend on for retirement, lost approximately £2.4 billion in value as markets tumbled. These aren't abstract numbers. This is real money belonging to teachers, nurses, factory workers, and retirees who had nothing to do with this fight. Former Bank of England economist Timothy Harrington called it a self-inflicted wound that will take months to heal. JP Morgan analysts downgraded Britain's investment outlook, citing escalating regulatory uncertainty. But wait, because the economic fallout was just the beginning. Within 24 hours, 5 major tech companies quietly signalled they were reviewing planned UK investments. We're talking about £4.2 billion in artificial intelligence research facilities, data centres, and innovation hubs that would create thousands of high-paying jobs. Now those projects are on hold, while executives assess the political climate. Microsoft had planned a £1.5 billion AI campus in Manchester. Amazon was finalising a major logistics and cloud infrastructure expansion. Meta was in advanced talks to establish a European content moderation headquarters in London. All of it now uncertain. The message from Silicon Valley was clear. If the UK wants to fight tech companies can invest elsewhere. Then something extraordinary happened that nobody anticipated. During yesterday's Privy Council meeting at Buckingham Palace, King Charles made remarks that royal observers immediately recognised as significant. With government ministers present, His Majesty spoke about Britain's historical commitment to free expression and open debate. Our nation's greatest strength has always been the free exchange of ideas, the King stated with unmistakable gravity. Any attempt to restrict that freedom, regardless of intention, risks undermining the very foundation upon which our democracy stands. Now, the King didn't mention Musk, Starmer, or the digital regulations specifically, but constitutional experts understood exactly what this meant. The monarchy was signalling concern about government overreach into speech regulation. Within hours, Buckingham Palace issued a carefully worded clarification emphasising that His Majesty was speaking about broad principles, not specific policies. But the damage, or depending on your perspective, the message, was already sent. Royal historian Dr. Amelia Blackwood noted this represents the most significant royal intervention in a politically sensitive matter since the 1990s. Palace insiders, speaking on condition of anonymity, revealed the king had privately expressed concerns to advisers weeks earlier about the Digital Regulations Bill. The optics are devastating for Starmer. He now appears at odds with not just tech billionaires and financial markets, but potentially the monarchy itself. Inside Parliament, Labour's unity is cracking. According to leaked WhatsApp messages published in The Telegraph, at least 15 Labour backbenchers have expressed serious reservations about the confrontation with Musk. One MP described the policy as politically reckless during an economic crisis. Another worried about handing Reform UK a gift-wrapped issue. Shadow cabinet sources reveal heated arguments behind closed doors. Chancellor Rachel Reeves reportedly told colleagues that Starmer underestimated both Musk's influence and the market's reaction. Home Secretary Cooper allegedly threatened to resign unless certain provisions in the Digital Regulations Bill were removed. The atmosphere at Number 10 is described by staffers as crisis mode. Multiple strategy sessions run late into the night. Communication teams draft and redraft responses. And Starmer himself appeared visibly stressed during yesterday's Prime Minister's questions, stumbling over answers about the economic fallout. Meanwhile, the British public is deeply divided. A YouGov poll conducted yesterday shows 54% of Britons support stronger regulation of tech platforms in principle. But 61% also expressed concern about government censorship. When asked specifically about Starmer's handling of the situation, only 38% approve, while 47% disapprove. The generational split is stark. Among voters over 65, support for the regulations reaches 68%. Among those aged 18 to 34, opposition climbs to 64%. Young Britons, who grew up online, are far more sceptical of government intervention in digital spaces. And here's where this story connects to something deeper that explains why it's resonating so powerfully. Many working-class Britons feel abandoned by a political establishment that seems disconnected from their daily struggles. While ministers debate tech policy, NHS waiting lists hit record highs. While Parliament argues about social media oversight, energy bills are crushing household budgets. While politicians fight billionaires on Twitter, ordinary people can't get GP appointments. Margaret Thornbury, a 73-year-old retired nurse from Sunderland, captured this frustration in an interview that's gone viral. After waiting 11 hours in A&E with a fractured hip, she told reporters, "I paid into this system for 51 years. 51 years. And when I finally need help, there's nothing." But the government has time to pick fights with billionaires about Twitter. Her heating bills have more than doubled since last winter. Her state pension barely covers essentials. And watching politicians wage a public battle over social media regulation feels insulting when the NHS is collapsing. "Sort out the hospitals first," she said simply. "Then you can worry about Elon Musk." That sentiment is echoing across former Labour strongholds. In working-class communities from Hartlepool to Stoke-on-Trent, voters are asking the same question. Why is this the priority? And political opponents are exploiting that disconnect ruthlessly. Conservative leader Rishi Sunak wasted no time. While British families struggle with the cost of living crisis, this government picks unnecessary fights that damage our economy, he declared. Labour is more interested in controlling the internet than fixing the NHS, but it's Nigel Farage who's truly capitalising on the moment. The Reform UK leader has positioned himself as the champion of free speech against government overreach. At a packed rally in Birmingham this morning, Farage delivered a speech that brought the crowd to its feet. "When your government fears what you might say online, you should fear your government," he thundered. "Keir Starmer thinks you're too stupid to decide what information you can handle." The crowd erupted, and Musk amplified the moment by retweeting the clip to his massive following with the comment, "Britain deserves better leadership." Latest polling shows Reform UK has surged to 21%, just 5 points behind Labour's rapidly declining 26%. The Conservatives sit at 24%. For the first time since the general election, Labour's governing majority looks genuinely vulnerable. Farage is promising something that has Westminster terrified, a tech-powered populist movement. He's talking about using artificial intelligence to create direct democracy platforms where voters can weigh in on major decisions in real time. Why wait 5 years to have your say, he asks. Your voice should matter every single day. The message is resonating, especially with younger voters who previously dismissed Reform UK as a party for pensioners. So where does this leave us over the next critical 72 hours? Parliament reconvenes tomorrow with the opposition demanding an emergency debate on the digital regulations. Treasury officials are reportedly discussing whether to delay implementation to calm markets. Downing Street staffers are working around the clock on damage control strategies. 3 scenarios are emerging. First, Starmer doubles down, insisting these regulations are necessary regardless of short-term market volatility. This maintains ideological consistency, but risks further economic damage and political isolation. Second, he announces a consultation period to refine the policy. This allows a tactical retreat without admitting defeat, but opponents will claim he's caving to billionaire pressure. Third, he significantly waters down the regulations, removing the most controversial provisions. This stops the bleeding, but makes him look weak and indecisive. Each option carries substantial political risk, and Musk shows no signs of backing down. What we're witnessing is modern political warfare, not armies or sanctions, but market pressure, viral narratives, and algorithmic amplification. The battleground is digital, the weapons are attention and capital flows, and the stakes involve both economic stability and fundamental rights. This is also a test case for democracies worldwide. Can nation-states regulate global tech platforms without triggering economic consequences they can't afford? Or have tech companies become so powerful that they can effectively veto government policy by threatening capital flight? Britain is attempting to answer that question right now. The outcome will influence regulatory debates across Europe, in Australia, and potentially even in the United States. But for millions of ordinary Britons, the question is simpler. Why is my government fighting this battle when the NHS is crumbling? When I can't afford heating? When nothing seems to work anymore? That disconnect between political priorities and public needs might be the most dangerous aspect of this entire crisis. Because when citizens lose faith that their leaders understand their lives, that's when political earthquakes happen. Here's what's to watch tomorrow. Parliamentary debate will reveal how many Labour MPs are willing to publicly defend Starmer's position versus how many stay silent or voice concerns. Market movements will show whether investor panic is temporary or represents sustained capital flight. And weekend polling will indicate whether this controversy helps or hurts Labour's standing long term. This story is far from over. In many ways, it's just beginning. So tell me, what do you think? Is this a necessary fight over digital sovereignty and corporate accountability? Or is it a political miscalculation that's damaging Britain's economy while distracting from real problems? Should governments regulate social media platforms more aggressively, or does that inevitably lead towards censorship? And is Musk defending free speech principles, or is he defending his business model? Drop your perspective in the comments below. We're reading everything, and the debate matters. This affects all of us. If this breakdown gave you context you're not getting elsewhere, share it with someone who needs the full picture beyond the sound bites. Hit that like button if you want more in-depth analysis that respects your intelligence. Tomorrow, we'll cover the parliamentary response and whether Starmer has the support to survive this political storm. The mainstream media is missing crucial angles. We're not. Stay informed, stay critical. We'll see you in the next one.